20 from Brampton, Ontario. His dad, Dan, was a longtime pro. This lefty has been passing the ball at a nearly savant level.
Clark, when these two teams played Monday, the difference was in the cage.
Indeed, Anish. Dylan Ward's been the most impactful player tournament to date. It was a 10-5 win for the Canadians on Monday against the Iroquois, but 24 saves. He's a 2014 World Championship MVP. He's playing at that same level again. He takes up a tremendous amount of the net, and he's been flopping on lower shots. No one can solve Dylan Ward. He's been the difference.
24 saves on Monday against the Iroquois, including 12 in the opening quarter to set the tone. We're about ready for the opening face-off of semifinal number 1. Canada, the defending gold medalists. The Iroquois took home bronze in 2014. It'll be Jeremy Thompson for the Iroquois, and for Team Canada, Jeff Snyder. Thompson on Monday had a good one, 12 out of 18 at the X. Snyder just 2 for 11. But Snyder wins the opening draw, and Canada has it to begin. This Canadian team, only one blemish so far here in Netanya, Israel, and 11 heartbreaking loss to the United States. They had a day off yesterday.
That's a big deal. I was just going to say that. That's a big deal. They had a team stretch down in Netanya Beach. Today I ran into Kevin Crowley in the gym early. He was on the bike just getting a light sweat before breakfast. They've been off their feet and out of the sun all day with a day off.
Meanwhile, the Iroquois playing their 6th game in as many days. Here's Canada on attack. Ben McIntosh, 9 goals in this tournament. McIntosh to the cage, diving in, and the opening salvo fired by the Canadians.
When Randy Mearns, head coach of Team Canada, put this group together, I'm not sure he viewed Ben McIntosh as a guy who was going to get him 10 goals in this tournament, but the Drexel grad from 2014 and native of British Columbia has been on fire. Great wing dodge there, and you just see the communication breakdown from the Nationals. Ideal start for Canada.
It was, Quint, a breakdown indeed. Mike Zor's got a lot of Major League lacrosse experience. Wow. He's got to challenge McIntosh physically there.
You can dive in the crease in the international game. Rules a little different than the MLL in college. No clearing clock, no shot clock. There is a warning, and on a stall warning, you have to keep it in the attack box, which is wider. 20-minute quarters, running time until you hit the 3-minute mark of the 4th quarter. And here is McIntosh, former NLL Rookie of the Year. That's the indoor league. And now Mark Matthews, 9 assists for Team Canada, former Denver Pioneer. Flips it to McIntosh on the wing. The Iroquois in his zone. McIntosh save Warren Hill. And now a chance to run for the Iroquois. Tyson Bomberry. And that is stopped by Dylan Ward, who has stopped better than 65% of the shots he's seen in this tournament.
He's so rangy and wide. You know, he's got a wide stance, and he goes pipe to pipe without even taking a step. That was an easy offering. You know, sometimes a shot out of a long pole can be difficult. That wasn't a strong effort. Now all of a sudden, Ward's got confidence.
21 in white, Kevin Crowley. Played in Stone. Drafted 1st overall in both the NLL and the MLL. Now Matthews. Plays it back to Mark Cockerton. It's off his cross. And picked up by Crowley.
Iroquois playing man-to-man defense right now, but it's an extremely packed-in and condensed spacing.
Here's Curtis Dixon. He's had a big tournament. To the wing, Cockerton. Noble. That one hit the crossbar. Ricochets back out to Dixon, who backpedals.
If you're watching this Team Canada team for the first time this summer, or maybe ever, passing and crisp stick work is their signature. What are better than anybody.
And a lot of beef, too. You look at these guys offensively. Curtis Dixon, Mark Matthews, Kevin Crowley. These guys are full-grown men, well over 210 pounds.
Nice move. Now picked up by Jerry Stotts on the switch. Ball rotation. Crowley up top. And he beats Warren Hill low, 2-0. Team Canada.
That's one Warren Hill is going to want to take another look at. There's no step, an explosive first step out of the Iroquois goaltender. But there's the physical dominance of the matchups. Guys like Curtis Dixon can get into the body of defenders. And this one, Quint, as a goal on the outside, a clean look, deflects off of Hill. That's going to drive him nuts.
Yeah, Crowley from Jeremy Noble, but the party starter was Curtis, and as you alluded to, Clark, press in the corner, drawing the double team, the ability to deal with duress and pressure and throw a one-handed pass. They make the extra pass. Crowley off to a good start. As I said earlier, he's a pro's pro, Anish. In the weight room this morning at 9 a.m. on the bike, just getting this little sweat going, get the lactic acid out of his legs before breakfast.
Canada taking advantage of that day off. Good look here. Warren Hill, though, with the save on the shot by Wesley Berg. Hill was undefeated as a starter for Downey Community College, 35-0 in 2 seasons before transferring to Syracuse. Started 8 games his final year with the Orange. As Mike Lazor tries to corral it, able to retrieve on the far sideline. Lazor, a 2-sport star at Hobart, lacrosse and football. Now Austin Stotts, 12 goals, 83 in purple. And here we see Lyle, 4 in purple, all-time leading scorer in Division I, 400 points. One of 2 players to win 2 Tewaaraton Awards in college lacrosse. Mike Powell. Now Miles Thompson. One of 5 Thompson, this Iroquois team. Brothers Lyles, Heine, and Jeremy, and cousin Ty. Austin Stotts, that one skips wide. And there to back up Thompson.
Shot selection, one of the keys for this national team in their gorgeous purple, black, and gold uniforms.
Here is Lyle. A matchup of 2 all-time greats. Now Randy Stotts. Stotts draws the double, looking for his brother Austin. Going back to scoop that up is Kyle Jackson, who played at Michigan. A Canadian native.
Played well last night in their win against Puerto Rico. Had a hat trick late in the game. He really turned it on as they pulled away in the second half.
Austin Stotts. Jackson setting the pick. Stotts has the short stick, Zach Currier. Stotts, nice move. The winning shot, another save. Dylan Ward right there. Outlet to Tyson Bell. Up ahead to Dixon. Dixon beats Warren Hill high. Hill gets low, and it's 3-0 Canada.
The difference in East is changing levels as you high to high. Stop for Ward. He matches up. Others the ball. Aggressive outlet. Well handled. Under pressure. At the other end, watch Curtis Dixon drop it down low. Whoop. Finishes it up top. Classic example of why shooters have to change levels.
And wrist strength. Kidding me with Curtis Dixon? That's just a snap of the wrist. And I think a difference with the Canadians, gentlemen, this year, too, is their ability to hit and transition with their short stick. Tyson Ball is an athlete. He can fly all over the field. You have Zach Currier. And when you couple him with guys like Bell and Latrell Harris, athletes in the middle of the field.
Canada wins another faceoff. The Canadians perfect at the X.
Is it me, Anish and Kark, or are leads important in this tournament? It seems like nobody's made massive comebacks because of heat, and the rules really favor possession in the lead. Is that would you agree with that, Kark?
100%. And I also think, too, emotionally, this is an Iroquois team that's played 6 games. You mentioned Canada had that game yesterday. I just felt like, how much juice does this Iroquois team have? Offensively, they're spectacular, but they played a lot of defense. They played a lot of ball in the middle of the field. I just don't know how much energy they have coming in. I think this is a first and second quarter. To make this a game, it has to happen in the first half.
And Kark, in that meeting on Monday, you and I did that game. There were some plays where Dylan Ward stood on his head, made some spectacular saves. So far in the early going, he has not been challenged with any good shots.
Yeah, you need a spectacular shot to beat this guy. 65% heading in to today's contest. The 24 saves against the Iroquois on Monday. When you mentioned it too, not changing levels against a guy that's hot. I mean, that's just too easy.
Dixon against Jerry Stotts. He is not related to Austin and Randy. Now Matthews at his steam, draws the slide. McIntosh, his second. This Canadian offense clicking. Pythagorean precision early on. And the defending champs out to a 4-0 lead. Matthews, the hard dodge, draws the slide. McIntosh, the finish.
nearly 2 decades now. Dan Kraft is with me. Dan is with me. Dan, as a family, you've been involved with Israeli for nearly decades, both lacrosse and football. How did you become involved with American sport in Israel?
Well, we love Israel for a lot of reasons. Obviously, we're passionate about sports, and we really see it as a great way to build community and build bridges. And you look at this tournament here, 46 countries from all over the world, people representing every religion, every nationality, every ethnicity. On the football side, Team Israel's got Americans. Got Christians, Jews, Muslims, everyone coming together. So that's really the reason behind it.
You yourself are a lacrosse guy and involved with both Israel lacrosse and this tournament. Tell us a little bit about your involvement.
Yeah, I've been involved with Israel lacrosse since the beginning. Scott Neese, the executive director, reached out to me 7 years ago, and I've been passionate about building the sport here. When he called me about 8 months ago and said we're trying to get the World's game, I thought crazy. Anyway, it was going to happen. I said it's good news, bad news, you got it. Good news, you got it. Bad news, you got it. A lot of hard work, but everyone's experience here has been amazing. They've had an unbelievable experience in seeing the country and how incredible this country is, and I think the sport's going to grow.
Dan, thank you very much. Anish, point back up to you.
Marab, thank you. Thank you, Dan. We had a chance to talk to a few of the players for Team Israel at the Vendor Village just down the road from Field 1 at Wingate Institute, where this game is being played. And with Israel getting to the quarterfinals, having a chance to really pump up this sport at a youth level in this country, huge deal for the growth of lacrosse as Team Canada strikes again. 5-0. That's Mark Cockerton.
It's the legend's son. That is Mark Cockerton. Stan Cockerton, one of the greatest players in Canada history. I had an opportunity to chat with him the other day and chronicle his journey through Canada lacrosse and the FIL and what he's meant to this great game. Well, his son Mark has a ton of skill, over 100 goals during his career at Virginia, but also a stud with the Boston Cannons. 6-goal game this season for the Cannons. He just knows how to score, and you put him around these quick-passing Canadians, lights out.
When his dad, Stan, upset Team USA in that 1978 final, Vendor Village was nothing like it is today. We were just there. It's like the United Nations of lacrosse. Uganda, the Japanese, the Philippines, Hong Kong, Colombia, Belgium. We saw the Swiss, the Swedes, the Russians, the Latvians. Just an unbelievable potpourri of faces.
A snapshot of the world, really, in a land that harbors so much of the world's history.
Last night, Anish, we're in Tel Aviv having dinner, watching the Israeli-Australia game on TV. It was on TV here in Israel, Channel 5. We were able to watch it on our phones. If you told me someday you'll watch an Israel lacrosse game on your phone while you're in Tel Aviv, I would take the under on that one.
Meanwhile, Dehogan Nanticoke trying to maneuver out of a double team. Now Lyle Thompson, the Iroquois, trying to get on the board. Stats. Getting a pick from Brendan Bomberry, who just finished up at Syracuse.
Look, there's equal skill for this Iroquois national team. They've just got to do a better job of moving without the ball. A little too much staring at one guy dodging with other stationary parts.
Thompson gets free. That one hits the plate. Bouncing up in the air. Loose ball. Lyle trying to fight for it. It comes to Nanticoke. Unsettled situation now. Wow! Ward, the rebound. And that one didn't have much on it, but it's ushered away by Ward. The Iroquois still have it.
Dylan Ward is seeing it. He's believing in it, and he is right now. That is just 100% instincts to make that kind of stop from about 8 yards.
Here comes Miles Thompson against Bell. There's the double team. Jason Noble came from behind. It'll stay with the Iroquois. That was a shot. And And Lyle Thompson now will initiate.
Shot selection I've talked about as being critical. I often say dodge to the dirt, Anish. Well, you can actually see the dirt now. We're playing on a grass field that's a little worn and torn. You got to get to that dirt area if you're going to score on Dylan Ward. Severe angle shots from the wings against the big goalie are low percentage shots.
Kark, how much of it is Canada's defense?
To be quite honest with you, I think Canada's defense with that man right there, Graham Hassack, is much improved and has shown an ability to cover. However, if you've watched Dylan Ward in this tournament like we have, there's been breakdowns and there's been moments where he's had to bail his team out. He's the 2014 World Championship MVP, and he's playing at that level right now. When you get hot as a goalie, sometimes the best thing is just to continue to play. That's what this tournament does, Quint.
Kark, you had a view of that last shot. You were almost in line with the shot. Did he bait that offside high and then move at the last second? How did he set up that save?
Well, he baited, but the one before, Anish, you thought it was a pipe. He actually made that save on Lyle Thompson. What I think he's doing a marvelous job of is he gets big when you lose your angle. So he's a tall goalie, but he could also crouch a little bit. So it's the combination that he's got up and down covered, side to side as well.
The Iroquois with the man up tried the hidden ball trick. Jason Noble was called for a push, but it results in a turnover. The Iroquois scored on a hidden ball trick yesterday against Puerto Rico. That was Tehogan Nanticoke.
Puerto Rico, one of the big storylines of this tournament, bringing in a young team, a lot of American college players. Jose Boyer, who's an Under Armour All-American. Ramos, bunch from your area, Kark, in Westchester County.
Yeah, Ramos from Nyack, New York, across the bridge. Jose Boyer from my hometown in Yorktown. What a summer he's had, right, Quinn? Playing in the Under Armour All-American game, now coming to the World Championships, and then we'll report for a fall lacrosse in South Bend under Jerry Byrne, who you call the
Minister of Defense. Or should we call him the Prime Minister of Defense?
Prime Minister here, right? While we're here. Here's Jeff Teat, leading Canada in assists and points entering this game. You mentioned early deficits, Quint. Now the rules here don't really penalize you that much if you hold on to the ball, and so deficits become hard to erase. There's Crowley. Over to the wing, Cockerton. He retreats. On a stall warning, there's no shot clock, so all you have to do is keep it in the attack box, and it's easier to do that with a wider field and fewer lines. Noble. Matthews. In front, back shot is scored. Teat to Noble. 6-0 all Team Canada.
Offensive coordinator Matt Brown, who's also the OC at Denver, has got this team playing unselfish. They're really well organized, moving from one set to the next. Noble is a versatile piece, a little bit of a Swiss Army knife. He can play up top, he can play wings. We've even seen him, Paul, play at X behind the goal when he was a Denver Pioneer. There he is. He's a wonderful young man from Orangeville, Ontario. Tremendous attitude, leader, always positive.
Yep, he can spell Jeff Teat when Teat gets tired. We saw that the other day, Anish, but a lot of times early offense is a key. I think in this game for Canada, later offense is the key, and the reason being is the Iroquois defense will break down and the ball movement doesn't stop for Canada.
It hasn't been all Warren Hill's fault, but there have been a couple that he should have made. If you're Mark Burnham in that Iroquois sideline, do you consider a goalie change?
I cannot pin this in any way on Warren Hill. To follow up on Paul's point, it's easy. Every team can slide, or that is double team, whether it's high school or college. It's the recovery phase and then repeating it when your roles are changed, Anish. So if you're starting up top, you've got to drop into the crease, let's say. Next thing you know, you're playing the wing. All of a sudden, you're behind the goal. Like, what's your recovery responsibility? And that's where they're struggling right now. Once they get on the carousel, they're kind of losing their bearings.
Here's Lyle Thompson now against Jason Noble, brother of Jeremy, who scored last goal. Lyle finds his cousin Ty Thompson. And it's picked up by Brody Merrill off the rebound. Merrill pushes ahead to T. Wake up on 20 seconds to play in an opening quarter, dominated by the champions, Team Canada. Loser of this game plays in a bronze medal game tomorrow against the loser of the U.S.-Australia game later today. T, and there's a save by Hill. Hill rebound as well. Chucks it downfield. And it lands partly and just off to the left of the cage.
Good for Warren Hill, standing tall there at the end.
6-0. Team Canada in front.
Championship.
Iroquois just to get here. Passport issues getting out of Canada. A chance here. And the Iroquois off the opening face-off of the second quarter get on the board. Randy stops, but it started at the X with Jeremy Thompson.
Jeremy Thompson, 2011. He is a leader. His voice, his presence calms this team. And now his actions. He pops that out the front side and starts wraps that one around. It's a nice three-quarter arm bouncer to the far post with some authority. Stotts has had a monstrous week. A great player for Syracuse. He's turned into a man now. He's just gigantic. They're staying in our hotel. I couldn't be more impressed with his physical development. Let's see if Thompson now can trigger a little make it, take it run.
Face-off violation. It is against Canada. So the Iroquois get it back.
That's a throwback midi. Jeremy Thompson, when you look at him, does everything. Offense, defense, faces off. And then when you can get the face, you know he's an offensive threat with the ball. So if they slide to him, well, stats with his 17th goal of the tournament. If they don't, he'll rip it.
Jeremy Thompson, E.F. Hutton. When he talks, people listen. He's a man of few words. He doesn't waste words. And he embodies what this sport means to the Iroquois, and he lives that life.
Zach Currier took a spill. Now Miles Thompson. Ty Thompson saved by Ward. That one telegraphed.
Ward is especially good offside high with that move where he drives his top hand across his face.
55 and white. A renaissance man in the sport of lacrosse, Zach Currier. There is nothing on the field he can't do. He can shoot, he can score. A Roomba on ground balls. He can play defense and cause turnovers, and he can face off. He was a Swiss Army knife during his days at Princeton, and he's been one since.
How about Jeremy Thompson and Zach Currier for Braveheart if this game goes to overtime? The ultimate Braveheart. Guys who could face off, play offense, play defense. The way the midfield position used to be.
I love the fact that we're playing on grass and the field's a little chopped up. And a guy like Currier's got mud all over his jersey and his shorts. It shows you who's doing the blue-collar, dirty work in the sport that I think sometimes we kind of miss out on when they play on turf.
And Kark, you hear it firsthand. Currier, an A-plus trash talker.
Yeah, he'll jaw it up. When you talk to him off the field, he's very quiet. He's super competitive on the field and will let anyone have it. No one is off limits for 55. Quinn, I don't know if this guy's ever washed his jersey. I'm next to him over here on the field, and his calves are full of dirt. Back of his jersey.
Take a whiff. Probably smells like my hotel room right about now.
I love how Kark's eyes go straight to the calves.
No, Currier's allergic to the weight room. He told me that at the MLL All-Star game. He believes that you don't score goals from the weight room.
While Thompson.
Mechanical engineer by trade, Princeton graduate. This will challenge Westberg here defensively.
Now Thompson picked up by Harris on the switch. Now back against Berg. That's the matchup.
That's a nice job by Berg. He's got a shorty, and he's standing toe-to-toe with Lyle.
Ryland Reese with the takeaway. He's had a nice tournament. Out of Stony Brook, a rising senior. Latrell Harris over to Matthews. And now the maestro of the offense right now.
Yeah, Ryland Reese and Matt Gilray, two defenders of this Canadian national team. One Reese is from Stony Brook, 2018. Gilray's a Bucknell, 2018. New faces on this group, and in my eyes, a little tested. Maybe in an area if they play Team USA or Australia in the final, that we'll see their opponent prod and poke at those. But man, they played great.
I thought Reese in the U.S. game, Paul, had a goal and an assist. Was in transition. A long pole who can score. He's got 12 goals in his first 3 seasons at Stony Brook.
Yeah, I mean, you look at their mentor, Brody Merrill, who they get the luxury of playing with in this World Championship. I think when Brody Merrill emerged as an elite, world-class defender, gave young Canadian boys an inspiration to play that position. You're seeing way better defenders.
Denied on the doorstep, Warren Hill. And Hill has made a couple of big saves going back to the end of that first quarter.
That was nice by the big lefty, who understood that Cochran only had two options from that severe angle. One is 5-hole, and he's just going to chop his top hand to fill it up. The other is off that offside ear, and he just strong with the top hand. He drives and makes a clean stop. Warren Hill now finished up. I thought he finished up the first quarter on fire in East, and that's kind of carried over.
Hogan Nanticoke, he's been running out of the box quite a bit. Just finished his freshman year at Albany, 50 goals. Helped the Great Danes get the championship weekend for the first time. Skip pass is knocked down. Picked up by Team Canada and Matt Gilray, who you mentioned, Quint, a moment ago.
Yeah, the known quantities are Graham Hosek, 4 in white, and Brody Merrill, 17 in white. The new quantities are 11 and 7.
I thought Kark brought the point up earlier. Defensively, much improved from that 2014 team, which, oh, by the way, won a gold medal.
challenge for Team Canada historically has been to transition indoor box players who don't use long poles and have them play the field game. Well, now with the game just growing like leaps and bounds in Ontario with the Hill Academy, Calgary, out in BC, so many of these youngsters in Canada now they're playing tons of field lacrosse. No big deal anymore.
And Brady Merrill, a big part of that. An all-time great at Georgetown, and then in the MLL. He'll be 37 in November. He can still play. But there are a number of players, not just on this Canadian roster, but throughout this tournament who played for Brody at the Hill Academy. Jeff Teague, one of them, looking for Ben McIntosh that time, who's denied his third goal. Now Josh Byrne sizing up Jake Fox. Back to Matthews against Frank Brown. I guess not. It'll be Iroquois ball. This Iroquois team, we wondered if they would even get to Israel just a couple of days before this tournament started. An issue getting clearance to travel out of Canada, passport issues. Eventually, they arrived in Netanya on the day of their first game, and they almost put a scare into the United States. In fact, they did for one half. They led the U.S. at halftime before running out of gas in the second half. And if not for a 24-save performance by Dylan Ward, as Nanakoke is denied by Ward again, who continues to play well. If not for Ward standing on his head on Monday, the Iroquois went against Team Canada. Stops in the body against Bell, falling down, and it's up by Ward.
Surprised that there was no call. This Iroquois team, Anish, over the last week or so, an aggressive schedule. I mean, they went to Jerusalem and did a clinic at the craft facility. They then toured Jerusalem, came back, and played a game.
Same day.
Yeah. Earlier this week. Was it yesterday or the day before? They're out there with Team Uganda outside our hotel doing an impromptu clinic where they ended up singing songs and pose. They have been the true ambassadors and the shepherds of the sport. We were in the fan zone when they came out of the locker room. Today, the whole place went crazy. They're the rock stars. They're the heroes. The way they honor the game and their spirit, I think the other 45 nations just gravitate to.
Kark, there's a people's champion vibe about them, isn't there?
Well, yeah. I mean, the purity in which they approach the game, too, and how much respect they have for the game. But yesterday, that's when they met up with Team Uganda. It was amazing. It was documented. I saw some of the video from Mark Burnham. And at the end of the get-together, one of the Ugandan players started singing One Love, and both teams together sang in unison, and it was magical.
Those are the stories that make this event special. Here's Dixon. Looking at Jerry Stotts. Dixon has it checked loose. Big ground ball. And Dixon able to get it back. They call him Superman, known for diving into the crease. Matthews and Crowley. Lyle Thompson playing a little defense. Crowley. Dick this in. Turns fire. Hill right there again. And Dixon goes down.
Yeah, his right hip. He punched after he released this shot.
Flag down.
These are two teams that play a physical and rough style. Button the chin strap. Mouthpieces, Tory.
Canada jumped out to a 6-0 lead after quarter. They haven't scored in this second quarter, but it's still a 5-goal cushion for the champs. with us one.
History of the game, and as you mentioned earlier, I don't think there's a to learn this game from, especially here in Israel. What an incredible situation for these players.
This team, the Iroquois, they view lacrosse as the creator's game, and what's been so unique about this tournament, Kark, we have some teams where guys don't pick up a lacrosse stick until they get to college.
Yeah,
the guys in purple had a lacrosse stick in the crib.
Yeah, exactly, at birth. But they're paying it forward, and you see a lot of that. A lot of the Asian teams don't start playing until college, and I know the team Germany's and Poland's of the world, but they're closing the gap. The level of play is much improved, even in the last 4 years. Good
Man
news.
up opportunity for Canada.
Good news, Curtis Dixon is back in after getting slashed.
And a man-up goal for Team Canada, Mark Matthews. And we get a timeout by the Canadians. They've got a 7-1 lead, 9:33 to go in the second.
Just been so impressed with this man-up group all week. Their spacing, the passing, one cradle and a pass. Zip, 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 zip. From McIntosh. And now to preserve this man-up opportunity. This is an in-your-face example of the rules differences. Randy Mearns, their head coach, understands that. He led this team to the Gold Trophy in 2014. The Muffin Man. Longtime collegiate coach who's going to take over at St. Bonaventure. Early on in his coaching career, took a job at, is it Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons or Tom Hortons?
Tom Hortons.
Tom. Is it Tim?
Yeah,
it's Tim Hortons, actually. Yeah,
Tim, yeah.
You're right.
He worked the overnight shift, Anish, from 11 to 7 a.m., just so he could continue to play lacrosse and coach lacrosse.
And Mark Burnham, the head coach at IMG Academy, former player for the Iroquois, and I have to give Mark a lot of props. We saw him at lunch.
For a week and a half, he was here first.
At lunch today, he saw that I was with my family, and our daughter was fussing, so he goes, hey, I'll take her for a few minutes.
He was good.
Picked her up, entertained her while we were able to eat our lunch without a child in our lap. So thank you, Mark.
You should thank me, too. I held her for about 10 minutes during lunch.
Did he sing Puff the Magic Dragon to her? Because that song is embedded in my head after our drive yesterday to the Dead Sea. Puff the Magic Dragon.
She was a little fussy in that one.
Lived by the...
Yeah, thank you, Kark.
Yeah, you're welcome. Mark Burnham played on the Iroquois national team as a 46-year-old defender.
Four-time
world championships.
Kark, he's a midfielder by trade. Changed his role, right?
Yep, he played defense, and yeah, he's a character, a guy that I knew from my Syracuse days. He worked a food truck, or owned a food truck, my freshman year. He's one of the first alum I met when I was up at freshman year after a night or two of orientation and finding my way around campus.
That's what you're calling it, orientation?
Listen to this group. So he covered in his World Games. They would put him on Gary Gate when they played Canada.
Yep, Mark Millen.
Mikey Powell, Mark Millen.
Yeah.
And he was describing me, before the Iroquois got here, I was eating all my meals with Coach. He was just describing me the challenges of each and how he would change up the strategy in each of those matchups.
Yeah, really, really smart player.
Mark Matthews over to Jeff Teat, finds a cutting McIntosh. A hat trick for McIntosh, a precision feed by Teat. And after a little lull early in the second quarter, the Canadians have found their mojo again.
You can't foul these young men.
Wow, the ball movement is just, it's next level. You just feel like these guys have the sixth sense for what's going to happen next. The key is also the crease play. We saw on the Matthews goal, when the crease is really, really high, it gives an opportunity when the ball's up top to skip it down low. In that case, when the crease is low, Jeff Teat has options. You have McIntosh in tight, and if they help from the diagonals, then Teat throws bullet cross crease feed for an outside guy. So options galore.
Our timeout on the field with Team Canada up by 7 goals. Quint mentioned that yesterday we took an excursion. Part of being in Netanya, being in Israel, is a chance to really embrace the sights and sounds and the great landmarks of this country. And we went to one of the 3 major bodies of water that surround the country. They've got the Med, the Dead, and the Red. The Mediterranean, the Dead Sea, and the Red Sea. And the big mystery was me, would I sink?
Yeah, you got the turquoise shorts on there with the hat on, and there you are.
I didn't drown.
Like an anchor, friends. Anish floated, and that's gone a long way in terms of your ability in the pool. But the Dead Sea, fascinating. Warm, clear water, super high salinity, which means it's buoyant. It's got bromine, magnesium, and multiple kinds of salt. It's declining a meter every year, so it's going away. And then the mineral-rich muds on the shore are gooey, icky.
You guys are really leaving that up
until you
there
put it
for a
on
while.
your skin as a mud mask, and it's got little pebbles in it that exfoliates, and it's a spa-like from nature.
Yes, and I saw you really took that to an extreme.
I loved it.
You spent a lot of time lathering yourself up in mud.
I liked.
You were like the Swamp Thing, man. You were covered in that stuff.
It reminded me of being a little kid and playing in mud in my backyard.
But I got to tell you, Clark, you missed out on this. The mud, it's really from beneath the water. You just scoop it out, and you rub it all over yourself. Quint took it to another level, but man, it feels great when you rinse that off.
Honestly, it exfoliates, which means it.
You bought some too, right, to take back with you?
That's a surprise gift, Anish. Come on, man. My daughter might be watching this thing. A worthwhile day trip. Half day trip for us. We're lucky we got there early because the tourists were coming in by busloads after we were done.
Canada try to use another time out there to elongate that man-up opportunity. Now back to even strength. 8-1. Winner of this game moves on to the gold medal game, which will be played on Saturday. Our second semifinal tonight features Australia and the United States. Team USA undefeated so far.
The championship game, 3 a.m. Saturday morning, 3 a.m. ESPN2 re-air